So the last section of this autonomic nervous system is just sort of pulling it together, homeostasis and maintenance of homeostasis by the peripheral nervous system and by the autonomic nervous system, which is split into the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. Okay, so the sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions, as I said, work together. And I mentioned this before, a lot of them innervate some of the same organs. Remember, these are the visceral, the visceral division of your motor division of your peripheral nervous system. So this is the involuntary portion. So when you're in fight or flight, heart rate, your sympathetic tells your heart rate to go up, pump harder. When you're in rest and digest, your parasympathetic tells your heart rate to slow down. Okay, so they innervate some of the very same organs, and so depending on where you are in fight or flight or in rest and digest, depending on how your body, it depends on which one is sort of controlling which organ. Okay, so both divisions innervate some of the same organs. Dual innervation allows sympathetic division to become dominant, trigger effects that maintain homeostasis during physically demanding periods. So when you're in fight or flight, but your sympathetic is able to maintain homeostasis when you're in fight or flight, but your parasympathetic maintains homeostasis when you're in rest and digest, okay? When you're in decreased physical activity, decreased stress, okay? So they work together. And this is a nice diagram that sort of pulls them, all together. Remember, we just talking about the parasympathetic, acetylcholine target cell, your sympathetic, your chain ganglion. You have acetylcholine from your pre-ganglionic neuron, your post-ganglionic neuron. You have norepinephrine, acetylcholine, or epinephrine that helps affect your target cells. Okay. And so these are just showing you where the different, remember, this is thoracic lumbar, this is cranial sacral, all right? So just pulling all together of your autonomic nervous system, right? So maintenance of homeostasis is one of your body's most essential functions. As we all know, your body has a certain temperature. Your body has a certain blood pressure. Your body needs water to stay at needs a certain amount of water in the body at all times. Your body has so many different reactions that have to keep reacting. So it needs a certain pH. So we have to maintain all of these things. And your autonomic nervous system plays a huge role in being able to do that. It's not the only thing that does that, but it plays a huge role. And you may ask the question, well, what triggers my parasympathetic versus my sympathetic? Like, how does my body know I'm in fight or flight and to trigger my sympathetic, or that I'm in rest and digest and to trigger my parasympathetic? That is controlled by your brain, your hypothalamus, which is part of your brain and endocrine system, and your brainstem, reticular formation, right? So these actions are carried out by the two divisions of your autonomic nervous system, right? So your hypothalamus and your brainstem help you to be able to, those are like the control centers. So they know when your body's in, when you're turned up and your body's in fight or flight, or when your body's in rest and digest. Okay. And that is the sort of diagram of that. Brainstem, your hypothalamus, brainstem, reticular formation, those are what control your homeostasis, which we learned from the central nervous system, chapter 12. And they get input from the amygdala and the cerebral cortex. So it goes through your hypothalamus, reticular formation, which then sends a signal to your sympathetic and parasympathetic neurons, which can control your heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory, your breathing, your sleep-wake cycle, your acid base. Your hypothalamus also controls your body temperature, your feeding behaviors, your fluid intake. So all these effects, right? So this is kind of pulling together your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system as far as maintaining your body balance, your homeostasis. That's the end of this chapter. If you have any questions, please contact me and we can talk more.